Seminole Skokie, you know we the holiest OG. Coming to restore the crown of the home and my Shinnecock, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Wichita, Blackfoot, Abenaki, Seminole Skokie, you know we the holiest OG. Coming to restore the crown of the home. Over to my day, it's my stay in me. Ancestors is just right in front of me. I'm on a bed, dynasty, live inside me. Goddess, this birth, your work, made it, make her greatness. And why I'm natural style, rain dancing under the moon, through the pearly gates, escape from Spain to Panama. We still ahead of y'all, commemorate to get your soul piecing to the top of the dome. We stand tall, y'all. Never lazy, just rock, clap, 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 clap. All the more talking shit, hot, got to stop. Never retreat. 10K is dog on talk, y'all. Top body, we awake, very screaming. ETV, bloodshot, lightsaber walker, walk talker. Never stop. Home and talk, Shinnecock, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Wichita, Blackfoot, Abenaki, Seminole, Skokie. You know we the holiest OG. Coming to restore the crown of the home and talk, Shinnecock, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Wichita, Blackfoot, Abenaki, Seminole, Skokie. You know we the holiest OG. Coming to restore the crown of the pork chop. An entire city block. People coming back to wreck shop. Shit, pop them out and pop. Can't stop the rebirth from raw. Indigenous rock with the native chant. Jim Price war, they dance at a glance. Anyone who glance, check them war bands. Raw dead, Chief 7 Feather Owl. All these 14th Amendment rappers throwing the towel. Quit, compass and travel. Masons taking oaths, disrespecting ancestors, selling their souls to ghosts. So raise my glass, make a toast to Aboriginal. Traveling through the cosmos, that's most me, and that's on top. My wounded knee, bandage up, Black Hawk, what's up? Geronimo's cold. We taking it back from the tomb of the bones when we coming in the room. When it's home like a home, man. I thought Shinnecock, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Wichita, Blackfoot, Abenaki, Seminole, Skokie. You know we the holiest OG. Coming to restore the crown of the home, man. I thought Shinnecock, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Wichita, Blackfoot, Abenaki, Seminole, Skokie. You know we the holiest OG. Coming to restore the crown of the
Peace, peace, peace. This is the time for this one. This is another video from your brother. And I know it's a lot of people been asking me about this song. The song is called Crown of the OG. That is by Selena Cordoba L and the Sid Duca Tiz. If you like to purchase the song, I believe it's on iTunes. And the name of the song once again is Crown of the OG. All right, it's also on YouTube. So if you want to check it out, definitely look it up. All right, man. Pick my daughter up in about an hour, actually about 2 hours. So shout out to everybody in the chat room. Shout out to everybody. Most people don't celebrate the holidays, but if you do, enjoy your time off with your family. Also, real quick, I had a couple of donations this week, so let me just shout out the brothers and sisters who do have the time and who do support the brother. Support as far as the documentary go, because everybody supports as far as you come in here, you subscribe, and you getting this information, because this information is just not for me. This is not no ego centered YouTube channel. Thanks to the 16,000 subscriber. I'm at now a little over 16,000 subscribers. Like I said, when I first started this off, I don't know where I don't know where the shit was gonna take me, but shoot, I guess it's like 2 years, 2.5 years. 2.5 years later, I'm at 16,000 subscribers, man. So thank y'all. Love all the subscribers, all the brothers and sisters that come through, and hopefully you enjoy the information, and the information help you further your research. All right. So all right, I got a $50 donation from PGM. You know who you are. I don't want to say your name. You know, that's how I try to do it. But PGM, you know who you are. And I got a $20 donation from EP. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate the donations. Like I said, donations will go towards Coach of Freedom, hitting Coaches of America. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to all the brothers and sisters who also purchase a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or a hoodie off of my Teespring account. Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. Shout out to everybody who does that too. I know sometimes I'll be forgetting to shoot y'all out, but thank you very much. I definitely appreciate the support. All right, so with that being said, I wanted to do something real quick on this right here. I had a couple of different things. I had some treaties and stuff up here, as well as some of the names of what the original states were, or how did some of these states get their names. So you can further your research from there. Also, like I said, yo, I'm trying to put together. We got pretty much, I believe we have like a research team and brothers and sisters who definitely research. But it's so much research, man. It's like, yo. And then let me tell you something too. Even with these treaties, they don't have all these treaties. Like, it's hard to find them. It's a lot of different treaties, man. Like this one, I don't know if anybody ever heard of this right here. Let me see something. Let it load up. All right. It's actually, I'm actually gonna try to go over a little bit of this too, but it's kind of long. All right, this is called. Give me a second, y'all. This is called the Treaty of the Sycamore Skulls. All right, and this is in Tennessee, and basically this is dealing with Brother Dragon Canoe. You know what? First, let me read touch on this real quick, and then I go into the other what I was gonna touch. All right, let me open up a little bit. Like I said, I'm gonna try to get up out of it. And also, listen, tonight I'm gonna do another video when I get back from the gym, or maybe before. Maybe before the gym, I'll do it. All right. So this is a treaty of Sycamore Skulls. It say was negotiated between Judge North Carolina and the Cherokees. It's a led by Little Carpenter during the March 1775. The Sycamore Skull, now Elizabethton, it's a on the Watauga River. It's a private treaty, was illegal under both British and later American law. It was, however, one of the most influential treaty of Tennessee history. It say the treaty transferred the area between the Ohio River and the headwater of the stream flowing into the Kentucky and Cumberland River, central Kentucky and north central Tennessee. It's a to the Transylvania Land Company. Transylvania, okay? Land Company. For 10,000 British pounds of trading goods, Little Carpenter's son, Dragon Canoe, refused to recognize the sale and vowed to turn Middle Tennessee into a dark and bloody ground. Let's go, Aborigine. Said, Prime, y'all know about Dragon Canoe. We actually touched on a brother. Definitely an interesting story. But this is dealing with the Chickamaugas. All right, so let's keep it moving. So it's a promise to keep promise he kept through his leaders of the Chickamaugas. Henderson opened the Cumberland settlement as a result of this treaty. The supplementary, the Watauga, and Brown Purchase also made at 1775 Sycamore Skulls negotiated transfer ownership of the lease right of the Watauga and the Nalachukkie to the white settlers. The treaty acknowledged that the Cherokee defeat in 1776 and 1779 in support of the British during the American Revolution. The Treaty of Hopewell, signed on November 28, 1785, officially ended fighting between the U.S. and the Cherokees and ceded an area south of the Cumberland River for the settlements in the return for the purchase of the Cherokee land. Settlers moved into that land. However, the more definite Treaty of Houston was signed in Knoxville on July 22nd, 1791. The territory governor, William Blunt, for $1,000 annuity, is say, and later raised 1,500 by the Secretary of the War, Henry Knox. It say the Cherokee ceded all claims to the area east of the Clinch River and north of that other line. It say though Kingston and North Carolina borders. All right. So this is something I wanted to really kind of go over. You know what? Fuck it. Let me read some more of it because it's a little bit more right here. So I might as well just read it. All right. Say further cession of the land by the Cherokees came from the Treaty of Talsica. It's signed October 2nd, 1798. It granted lands that the settlers had entered between the Clinch River and the Cumberland Plateau, and between the Tennessee and Little Tennessee River. Treaty negotiation often occurred at the Talco Blockhouse. A second treaty did not affect land in Tennessee, but the third Treaty of Talco in 1805 did. Indian agent returned J. Meg and Daniel Smith obtained from the Cherokee all land north of the Duck River and extended that land due east to the Tennessee River, including all the Cumberland Plateau. A few days later, an additional payment was made to obtain the rights to operate a mail road of Talco to the Tombigbee River through Cherokee territory as part of Knoxville to New Orleans route. They say the same negotiation transferred a small parcel of the U.S. garrison at Southwest Point, now Kingston, as a desirable location for the state capital. Subsequently, the capital was moved to that site for one day, September 21st, 1807, to fulfill the pledge, making Kingston one of the 4 official capitals of Tennessee. All right, let me see something real quick before I go further. Let me see if this is exactly all right. You know what? Let me see something. These are just some. Matter of fact, you know what? Fuck it. I'll read a little bit more of this. Get my language, y'all. Yeah, I'm striving to stop cursing too, y'all. Like I know I curse like a darn seller. I think that's gonna be one of my so-called. I know I don't celebrate New Year's in January. I celebrate New Year's when all of this back in March. But you know, I'm going to try to start coming up in January, stop cursing, and you know, I'm gonna really try. Like, I know I could have been stopped cursing a long time ago though, but I don't know. I just be cussing. I'm sorry about that, y'all. I'm sorry about a lot of videos that's very that had a lot of education. A lot of people actually sent me emails stating that they would love for me to stop cursing, that some of these could be shown in school. So I'm gonna do a lot of my videos over, and I'm gonna really like take time and curse. I'm not gonna curse. I'm gonna really take time and not curse, so they can, you know what I'm saying, so they can be more of an educational experience for a lot of people. All right. So the following year, 1806, claim the Cherokee and Creek to the land south of the Duck River. Oh, did I read that? No, I did. It say south of the river to the southern boundaries of the state was purchased. Meigs and Smith paid the Creek 14,000 for their claims. It say of Secretary War Henry Dearborn negotiated the Treaty of Washington of 1806 with the Cherokee to obtain their claims for 10,000 of this mill, a cotton gin, and $100 annuity for Chief Black Fox. All right. After the war, 1812, and subsidiary Creek War returned J. Mig between an attempt to persuade the Cherokee to voluntarily move to Arkansas area. See, here we go. Say he were quite successful, but when the Cherokees arrived in Arkansas to take the possession of the land, they discovered the ownership disputed by Indians already in the area. This results in the 1817 Jackson and McMinn Treaty, which transferred land of the Saukatachi River to white control, along with some land in Georgia, in return to secure possessions of land along the Arkansas and the White River. The U.S. government also promised to pay an expense of Indian immigrating to the west on October 19, 1818. Saying former government Isaac Shelby of Kentucky made the Treaty of Tuscaloosa, tradition known as the Jackson Purchase, with the Chickasaw Jackson and Shelby bribe Levi Colbert. It say with his brothers had taken a political leadership of the tribe. Now look at his name, Levi Colbert. So you know he was a crack. Now remember, a lot of these Europeans was basically trying to mix in with a lot of these tribesmen. And like I said, even at this point in time, they were still taking slaves. They still had a lot of us as slaves at this point in time. So, you know, they was breaking up a lot of these tribes. And a lot of these tribes that I read earlier, basically the Sycamore, the Sycamore, I don't know how to pronounce that, yo. Let me go back to the top. The Treaty of the Sycamore Skulls. This has something to do with the Revolutionary War that a lot of people don't talk about. It has had a lot to do with the Revolutionary War. All right. And like I said, yo, it's like with all this information about our history, it's like it's all over the place, man. It's all over the place, man. It really is. And that's like, you know, I want to try to get more. I want to get more dedicated to it so I can put it in better perspective, because I understand a lot of this stuff. I just need to just really, you know, take my time and just direct it and edit everything properly and just stay on certain topics. You know, I'll be all over the place with history. You know, I got history on Negro slaves. I got history on Negro slave owners. I got history on surnames. I got a lot of research, man, and I just really want to focus it on just, you know, before I move on to another different topic, I like to close that chapter on until I find more research on it, though. But I'm gonna tell you, man, I do a lot of research, and sometimes, you know, I be having the inspiration to do certain videos, but I can't really get the videos out because I've run into walls when I do the video, when I'm doing the research. Can't find some research that I'm looking for, but I know it's out there, and then later on it comes to me, so I end up having to do it over. But you know, it is what it is. All right. So like I said, so Jackson and Shelby bribed Levi Colbert. Okay, so Levi Colbert, okay. It say who with his brothers had taken the political leadership. Now these are Europeans, these are mulattoes, and obtained the 10,700 square mile of the territory between the Mississippi River and the western valley of the Tennessee River. It's this area comprising 1/4 of the Tennessee was a Chickasaw hunting ground and contained no villages. The Chickasaw traded it for 300,000 to be paid in 20 annual installments. There were an immediate rush to settlement to the area, and Jackson and John Overton and John Winchester soon founded Mississippi. 17 counties were established by 1824. All right, so you see, a lot of these lands wasn't sold by the actual people. A lot of these lands were sold by like when a lot of these Europeans mixed in, because a lot of these people was taking slaves too. They enslaved a lot of the Indians. And remember, the woman is the one that basically had the claim, because it was more of a matriarch system. So a lot of these Europeans, either it was forcefully or some of the women gave it up in hope to try to free themselves, or whatever the situation was going on at that point in time. These Europeans mixed in with them, and by them mixing in with them, the child that was the European seed, he basically sold a lot of these tribes out. So a lot of these so-called treaties are not real, because for the treaties to be real, they had to be voted on by the entire tribe. No one person or two people or three people can just make a decision for the overall of the overall majority of the tribes. Okay, so it's in the next year, 1819, the U.S. Secretary War Johnson C. Calhoun negotiated the Calhoun Treaty with the Cherokees and declared the remaining area between the Little Tennessee and the Hiwassee River for settlement. The only area remaining in Cherokee land was the southeastern corner of the state, in the area that now comprises Monroe, Polk, Bradley, and most of the Hamilton counties. The final treaty affecting Tennessee was the Treaty of New Octa. No, I'm sorry. Let me try to pronounce this. New Ekata, signed on December 29th, 1835. The New Ekata, Georgia, it was signed by representatives of the treaty party among the Cherokees, who spoke for approximately 10% of the tribe. It say the leaders of the signatories was Major Ridge, that faggot ass motherfucker, and the Tennesseans, it say from the Saquatchie Valley area. The United States delegates included former Governor William Carroll. The treaty finalized removal plan for the Cherokees. Remember, they stabbed that nigga up. Major Ridge got his. It say it purchased Cherokee land, Tennessee, Georgia, and North Carolina. Approximately a portion of that money for travel expenses use other monies to purchase land for Cherokees use in is now Oklahoma, and set aside the rest for construction of the public buildings in the new location. The treaty gave a 2-year time limit for removal. John Ross of Ross, leading near modern Chattanooga, led a 90% of the Cherokees to resist the removal, and the treaty eventually resulted in the Trail of the Tears. All right, so remember, like motherfuckers like John Ross, he was a political figure too. Him, Major Red, like, the normal tribesmen or the normal Aborigines, they didn't want to be a part of no government. So that's how you know that a lot of these people was European influenced. They was European mulattoes, as well as, like I said, people who was mixing. But you understand something, a lot of these treaties was forcefully. They was taking children. They was taking people hostage. They was doing a lot of stuff to make you basically give in, and basically a lot of the lands were sold as a result to this. But I just wanted to just read this one because No, I did videos on Dragon Canoe as well as the Chickamauga. Also I did a video on John Ross and Major Ridge, but I wanted to kind of touch on this a little bit before I go further in. So all right, so let's go here first. All right, so this is an article I found called Broken Trees. And I'm just gonna read a little bit of this just to give you an understanding. And I got another one right here dealing with treaties that was not recognized at the federal court level. These most of the treaties I'm reading right here are the original treaties that they signed. See, this treaties they show you now are basically treaties from from 17. Well, some of them treaties is from the 1700s though, but they show you a lot of treaties that was done with a lot of these mongoloids. All right, but nonetheless, though, let's read this. All right. So the United States has a long history in which abuse is re- relative power over the population. Its relations with the Native Americans or Aborigine Americans were no different in this regard. The United States frequently signed and committed itself to treaties with Aborigines that they repeatedly broke, a practice that have been present in American policy since its inception. For instance, under the Removal Act of 1830, the U.S. government bought land for the Aborigines east of Mississippi and offered to give them land in the West that would be theirs forever. Okay, forever. They say, however, this treaty was not honored by the U.S. government, while white travelers and traders were allowed to settle on this land that been had been giving to Aborigines. The American government also participated in signing treaties that had no real legal basis. For instance, in 1874, the U.S. government signed an agreement to purchase the gold-rich Black Hills of South Dakota. This agreement was signed with only a few individual states of the Sioux tribe, a clear violation of, look, 1869. See, most of this is not dealing with. So when you start seeing like most of these, like after 1830, most of us was already assimilated. All right. So most of this stuff right here dealing with, a lot of this stuff right here is not dealing with us. All right. So I'm gonna skip over that. All right, because this is not dealing with us. All right. So anything, like I said, I kept it to right here, 1830. Anything past that is dealing with them fucking mongoloids that they found in the South. All right. So I'm gonna go right here. Broken treaties versus no treaties at all. Say, as you already learned, broken treaties are a huge problem for Aborigines today. However, something you might not know is that there are many Indian tribes here in the U.S. that has no treaties at all with the federal government. Why don't these tribes have treaties? You say, why should you care? It is having a treaty at all a bad thing? All right, so we're gonna read more. So Aborigines without treaties, say one of the largest group of the Aborigines without treaties of recognition with the U.S. is the Native Hawaiians. Say, and the Native people that inhabit the state of Hawaii, is say, though it is undisputed that the Native Hawaiians are a native people that are indigenous to that land. They now live on that we were no, they now live on that were there before any contact with the European explorers. The Hawaiians are not no the Hawaiians are not what lawyers call recognized tribes. All right, so remember that. So they're not recognized tribes. All right, so read some more. So what is so bad about being unrecognized tribe? Despite the harm of broken promises for tribes that have treaties, the United States government refused to honor unrecognized tribes face special obstacles. For example, even if the federal government breaks its treaty promise with the tribe, a tribe that is formally recognized qualify for a special government program that gives the tribe money to support its tribal land, as well as a fund special program for tribal members. All right, now listen, at your own. You ain't gotta go through no motherfucking federal, because most understanding when you go through them, they control you. So we know that from brothers like Two Hawk and others out there that's talking, that's doing a lot of footwork, that's telling you about how the federal government basically controls the tribe once they start paying you. Um, my thing would be, if you owe us a redress of grievances, or what we consider reparations or land or tax breaks or whatever, you'd rather just have that shit one time. You don't want to make no constant payments to where, or it's an agreement to a large sum of a payment to where when these payments is up, that's it. We ain't got no contract. The only contract is that you're going to give us what you said you was going to give us. Or matter of fact, or we basically controlling on what we negotiated, all right? And that's pretty much what it is, all right? So look, they say, though being unrecognized tribe does not mean that tribal members are completely cut off from a federal program. For example, Native Hawaiians often have some program special funded by the federal government, even though even though that they are not federally recognized. Being unrecognized means that they are a lot of important programs they do not qualify, such as special programs to hold land and trust to preserve it for future generations of the tribe. All right, so now just some little bullets. Recognize tribe, learn more about federal recognition. Say legal nuts are bolts of recognition. It's a list of federal and state recognized tribes, unrecognized tribes, list of current unrecognized tribes, Native Hawaiians, more on the Native Hawaiian struggle for federal recognition. All right, so a little bit more. I got some more. All right, so now this is going to take us to pretty much the next what I'm going to show y'all. So this is what I was planning on. So, all right, so it say, why do old treaties still matter today? All right, so respect. It say another aspect of the same problem that broken treaties represent the government failure to honor and respect Indian tribes, the failure to keep a promise, and symbolic of the lack of respect. As you can imagine, if you make an agreement for free and your friend makes all sorts of plans or promises that you will come through on your end, that he will come through on the end of the bargain, all sorts of things can go astray away. They say, all right, so they say, if you do not hold your word on a much more dramatic scale, it say this is the situation tribes find themselves today. All right, so let me see something. All right, so relevant. It says, despite hundreds of reliance, it say on treaties such as these, tribes live with the fear that the government will unilaterally decide to stop honoring treaty terms. Today, Indian tribes have limited power to enforce century-old agreements. Tribes ultimately must depend upon the federal government willingness to honor its agreement, say, which in many cases is the same government that took the tribe away from their ancestry land. It's saying that had maligned them for centuries. Under this regime, tribes are extremely vulnerable. If their treaties are not honored, life as they know it can continue on. Can continue on, or slash it not. It said there is little that they can do about it. All right. So now remember, they got the guns. All right. So basically, that's what they basically fucking trying to tell you. All right. So sovereignty. So it's a um another reason why broken treaties are important to Aboriginal people today is an extension of which treaties say, and in all too many cases, the federal government refused to honor them. The tribe ability to run their internal affairs under the federal government promised to recognize the sovereignty of Indian tribes. Inherently, sovereignty is a complacent legal term. More or less, it means that the U.S. agrees that the tribe is legitimate nations that exist independently of the United government and are capable of entering agreements and running their own internal affairs without U.S. government intervention. Now, pretty much, this is what they give you. But like I said, man, my research dealing with this shit, man, I don't really want to just deter nobody hopes or you know what I'm saying what they got planned. But even when you deal with the UNDRIP, man, the fucking we know the United Nations was created by the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, so we know that even I'm just going to tell you probably now people are really trying to really start like honoring things because they don't want to look worse than what they look throughout the world. But through years of watching these things, y'all all know that these people don't honor shit. You know what I'm saying? You know that they don't honor shit. So basically, even when they talk about sovereignty right here, saying that you don't need the United States or you don't need the government help. And basically, you are like a foreign national or a national. You're not even a foreign national because you're legally here. You're on your land. You're not a foreigner. So you are a national. You're American national. Understand what I'm saying? You're not a United States national, United States a corporation, meaning you're not even a United States citizen. Because to be a United States citizen, meaning to have to be someone who agreed to be part of the U.S. All of us got birth certificates in which our parents kind of sold you out and agreed that you were part of the U.S. But remember to hold in due course. So that's the whole purpose of why people go back and authenticate their birth certificate and put all these different liens and shit on it to basically take control of it. Because that birth certificate is basically the contract. That's a contract as well as that social security card. They're contracts, okay? So basically what people do is you take control of that first in time, first in line, as the brother Jonah Bey always said. But sovereignty is basically being able to stand on your own ground. There ain't no sovereign citizen because you're not a citizen. I said that. They just said, listen, remember, a citizen, let's look up citizen, just to have it on a complete, understanding, all right? So just give me 1 second. Let me just pull this up real quick. All right, so this is etymology dictionary. So it's a citizen, it's a inhabitant of a town. Okay, it's a city dweller, town dweller, citizen. All right, basically it's a so you have to be an inhabitant of a town, right? That's the reason why a lot of Moors don't give out. They what the fuck is the word they call that shit? When you don't get zip code out, I can't think of the name. Damn, I can't think of the fucking name right now. Start with a D. I can't think of it right now. But basically, you don't give out your zip code, meaning that you're not part of, because that zip code is very important too, that a lot of people don't understand. That zip code basically what ties and binds you to the land, or binds you to these cities and states. All right. That's pretty much what ties you. That's why they always ask you for your zip code. Domicile. So basically you domicile. Basically, you don't have a zip code because you're not part of that moving part, which is the United States. All right. So now listen, remember now when people say, oh, sovereign citizen, now listen, they say under many, and remember this, all Europeans are citizens because they're not true Americans. Remember, the word American originally applied to the Aborigines, or copper color races found here by Europeans. So if the Europeans found the Americans here, then how the fuck did they become the Americans? Okay, because you gave up your right to become one. You gave up your right, just like the brother was saying, how many of us was living on farms and we seen them big lights of the big city and we decided to go and try to become part of that. You can always sign a contract. Contracts are basically, it's no binding contract. Once the person or the signantee the person that signed it realize that this contract is not in his or her best interest, then that contract is null and void. The contract is only good as well as long as you adhere to agree to the terms of the contract. Okay, no contracts is binding. There's no contract that you contracted for life to be in. All right, but remember the word citizen. Okay, we just said part of any city or town. Okay, that's dealing with that zip code. All right, so look. One more time. So it say under many Indian treaties, the federal government promised to recognize an inherent sovereignty of Indian tribes. Inherently, sovereignty is a complicated legal term. More or less, it means that the U.S. agreed that the tribe are legitimate nations that exist independently of the U.S. government and are capable of entering an entity. No, it said and are capable of entering into agreements and running their own internal affairs without U.S. government intervention. So that means you control your own tribe. That means that your tribe violate anyone, they have to be held accountable for it, and you have to have some type of remedy when these things happen. All right. So basically, you don't want to take responsibility for somebody on your tribe if they violate the United States or whatever, and even that these people ain't supposed to be here, you still have to kind of respect them. You just can't just violate their civility or violate them as a person. All right. So it's a vulnerability. Many tribes are greatly impoverished, meaning that that members rely upon food stamps and other food forms of assistance in order to survive. Though some of the tribal leaders acknowledge the harsh reality, native activists argue that the re, reserve reservation poverty. No, I'm sorry, my bad. Let me read that. I was thinking about something. It say though some tribal leaders acknowledge this harsh reality, many native activists argue that the reservation poverty, referring to the poverty Native Americans suffer under Indian reservation due to a combination of isolated location and separation of tribal communities from larger communities, as well as the desperate economics around them. It say it is in no small way linked to the government failures to keep its promise to the Indian land. All right, so who the biggest people that's on fucking food stamps and shit? You already know. So say more about treaties. What is a treaty? It's a legally speaking, a treaty is a document though through which two governments exchange promises and obligations with the intent of forming a peace agreement. In content of Aborigine treaties have been entered into for a reasons. For more information, what is a treaty? All right, so it say why enter into a treaty. One reason was to arrange for the exchange of land. All right. Usually federal government taking native lands and exchanging less desirable land in the West. Now, how the fuck do you give your land? How do you negotiate to give up something with people who ain't supposed to be here? Under the gun and under the fact that you've been sold by other people. Okay, it could be other tribes that sold you out and put you in slavery, or it can be that you basically amalgamated with these Europeans, and now the European basically is in charge because most of the people voted for him to be, because he more accepted on both sides. So most of the tribe, what they used to do was vote the motherfucking mulatto in as the chief, and then once you start seeing that they dealing with politicians and they part of Washington and all that, these people, we didn't know that they was going to sell us out like that. We thought that, oh, because they was part of that, they was going to work in your favor to help you. But because these motherfuckers then became greedy like the rest of the people here, then they did these little back underhanded deals which sold you into slavery and sold your people out. If it didn't sell you into slavery, well, basically understand this, right? understand this, right? All right. So basically, slavery to me is being held without your own will. So think of it like this, right? If your ass at work right now, under the sound of my voice, the conscience one, or Hanu, right? Under the voice of Ahanu, right? If you are currently right now at work, let me see you walk off that job site and see what happens. So technically, you're a slave right now, and that's for all of us. I mean, I'm not trying to poke at nobody because basically, you want to borrow the Federal Reserve notes. You want to use them Federal Reserve notes, which is widely accepted throughout the U.S. establishment, corporations, whatever, to basically barter and buy things. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not you into a lot of technology or you into certain things, you can't just go, even if you have a farm, and go get a bushel of fucking arugula or damn kelp or any of the so-called produce that you produce and sell it for something of a value like an iPhone. So you would need Federal Reserve notes that normally have US presidents on it, and that's how you basically will negotiate what you're doing. All right. So it says the second reason to enter, let me use my sense on it. The second reason to enter into a treaty was a promise of peaceful relations between the U.S. government and the Indian tribe. Now, in most cases we was winning, right? But just in case if you lost, on a treaty for peaceful U.S. government, because basically what these motherfuckers was doing was, even if you was beating them, they would still come and still keep fucking with you until one of you is gone. Until one of you either assimilated into the United States government, because we know that they didn't want to assimilate into our tribe. They only wanted to assimilate into your tribe, basically to learn how to grow food and how to do certain things on this land. But they did not have a reservation to be you in its entirety. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to learn how to grow shit. They wanted to know how the almanac or the seasons work and things of that nature. But ultimately, they wanted you. They didn't feel comfortable letting you be you. So the only way that they felt comfortable was when your ass basically assimilated. Now, like I tell everybody, if they came here in the 1500s or whatever, most of us are today assimilated, okay? Most of these treaties mean you gave up, you waved the white flag, all right? So, one more time, I say another reason to enter into a treaty was to promise full relations between the U.S. government and the Indian tribes. The content of each treaty varies widely, though, from tribe to tribe, as well as over time. It say to learn more. So, all right, so basically, Indian treaty rights, official set of ratified treaties, complete list of known Indian treaties and treaty orders by year. All right, so we got a little bit to go. All right, so fuck it, let's keep it moving. All right. All right, so American treaties, the first recorded treaties are those entered in the British government when the U.S. was still a set of British colonies. The Great Treaty of 1722. Now, we know the first treaty was the Treaty of Hartford. That was a treaty between the Pequot and the so-called what's the name? So check it out. I'm gonna get into that on the next slide. We're gonna definitely touch on a lot of them treaties that's not federally recognized. I believe these are just the treaties that's federally recognized. All right. Now look, let me show y'all something real quick. Now I got some more right here. See, like, look. So look at the dates. Look for 1600s. My bad. Pull that one up before I lose that one. It's not on this one right here. That's the first treaty, like the one he was talking about. My bad. Let me open a new tab up. already know I'm a terrible speller. And English. You know what? That's it right there, but hold up. I want to get the other ones in Virginia too. All right, you know what? I'm gonna look this one up though, but hold up for a second before we get into it. Click on. I'm gonna go back to this, and we're gonna get back into that one. All right, so American Treaty for recognize the Treaty of Great Treaty of 1722 between the five nations and the Mahagan, it say, and the colony of New York, Virginia, and Pennsylvania, who entered into the 1722 between 1722 and 1871. The U.S. government entered into hundreds of treaties with many, but not all, it said, of the tribes that lived in the U.S. Congress passed legislation in 1871 that banned entering into new treaties with Indian tribes going forward. It say that means that without special legislation, the U.S. cannot enter into a treaty. However, the same legislation states that the U.S. shall honor all obligations under the treaty entered into before 1871. All right, so Indian national, Indian tribes and countries without a county countries without a country. All right, so it say are Native Americans legally Americans? Is there a difference between an Indian tribal government and a Chinese government? It say, are reservations different countries? It say, why do we call Indian tribes nation? If Native Americans are American citizens, why does the U.S. have treaties with them? Now remember this, y'all, okay? Now, obviously, whoever writing this article don't know that the United States is of America. The United States is on American territory, that the Americans are the fucking Indians. The United States is a corporation which is occupying the land, which is, we already are. So it's they have treaties with them. So it's like structural racism. Generally, the legal status of a Native American is the U.S. In the U.S. is incredibly complicated. The section will teach you a bit about the legal status of Native American tribes and their government in the U.S. All right, so just to touch on a little bit of that, let's keep it moving. So it say, are Native Americans legally Americans? Now remember, like I told y'all, people think they come here that they're Americans, and I gotta edify them all day, every day, that you're not an American. You are a United States citizen. That's it. You are a United States citizen. What country you came from? Okay, well, you are a United States citizen. They should never let you say you're a Chinese American, because you're not a Chinese American. American originally applied to the Aborigines. If you're not an Aborigine and you came here from another land, then you're not an American. You are under a artificial status, which is a United States citizen. See how that works? Now we know how this European making up fucking robots and making everything inorganic. Okay, he can tell you, and the first inorganic substance that was here are Americans that's come from another country, such as European Americans. Okay, now the real organic Americans are the people who are Tanchans. Like my name, the Tanchan is one, a Tanchan, one who got this fucking soil and the minerals and all the properties that create America flowing through your veins and your blood. Okay, meaning you came from the dirt. Okay, you cannot come from the dirt of China and be a motherfucking a Tanchan in America. You are a United States citizen. Through paperwork and the stroke of a pen, they allowed you to they allowed you to transfer from one government or one nation to another so-called nation, because the United States is still not a nation. The only nations here are the Americans. All right, so let's read a little bit more. So it's legally speaking, Native American born within the borders of the U.S. are United States citizens. See, Native Americans born within the borders of the U.S. are U.S. citizens, just like anyone else born within the borders of the U.S. That was not, however, always the case until 1920. It say only 2/3 of Native Americans living in the U.S. were American citizens. The reason for this citizenship was not automatically given. Those with citizenship got it entering either through marriage, military service, special act, however, having to do with the land called allotments or special treaties or statutes. Citizens was extended to all Native Americans by the act of Congress, though through the Indian Citizenship Act of 1924. Now, remember, the Indian Citizenship of 1924 is basically dealing with, when you see that Citizenship Act, all of that's dealing with same shit with the Racial Integrity Act and all that. Okay, at the same time they was doing it to these monoloids, they was doing that shit to the original Aborigines. That's why, because most of us were saying that we was Indians, and this is the reason why they were changing your citizenship to basically take you away from that. And say now anyone born in the U.S. soil is a United States citizen, which that we already know. You have to be a fucking Atancha, basically, to say that's the reason why you can unpatriate. You can basically give back all your paperwork and just say, "No, I'm a national here. I'm dealing. I'm basically sovereign." That's what being sovereign is. Sovereign is basically what I just read above, but also it's basically telling these people that we don't need you or your false classification for me to be able to occupy here on my own territory. You know what I'm saying? But remember, it comes with a lot of things too. So remember that. All right. Because if you don't have a 9-digit number, it's hard to do certain contracts without one. And that's the reason why a lot of people use a 9-8 number. You know, but there are other remedies as well. While Native American citizens are of the U.S., they are also, in many cases, citizens of a tribe they were born into. Each tribe, much like other governments abroad, has its own rules about citizenship. In some tribes, any child with one parent that is a citizen of that tribe is recognized as a tribal member and a citizen. Other tribes have more rules covering citizenship. For example, some tribes limit citizenship to person with at least one parent that is an enrolled tribal member, and two that lives on the reservation land. All right. So let me see. Let's read a little bit more of this. And I'm gonna conclude with this. So, say legally speaking, Native American governments are a kind of foreign government, meaning that they are recognized as being separate from the U.S. However, this is really complicated area of law under a set of muddy rules created by the Supreme Court in the 1800s. Indian tribes are officially domesticated dependent nations. That this means that Indian tribes are technically separate from the U.S. government, but the U.S. government recognizes that they are dependent U.S. for existence. All right. So races or origins of the U.S. Indian law in the U.S. There are a lot of problems with the rules developed by the Supreme Court. First, the rules were developed for a lot of racist reasons. For example, in Johnson versus Magatot, it's a U.S. Chief Justice story stated that an infidel, heathen, and savage that the Indians were not allowed to possess or prerogative belong to absolute sovereign independent nations. Say an inferior race people without prejudice of citizens and under the perpetual protection of pupillage and say of the government. All right. It say this means that the U.S. recognize Indian nations as being special under the U.S. law, partially, I mean, primarily because we are obligated to take care of people that are less developed than us. So basically, what they telling you is that, yeah, we just gonna help you out. We know, and because we took your land and you can't feed yourself properly prior to what we have. And then, like I said, remember, a lot of people out, man. You think you want to be riding around on a horse, man, when a nigga pulling up in a brand new Maserati or pulling up in a damn Audi A6 or some shit like that, gonna be riding a horse. And like I said, maybe that's your preference. Have a horse and a car. Why not? Or whatever your means of transportation is. You know what I'm saying? So there's certain things or certain technology advancements that each tribe can basically cross over to. But basically, remember to try to keep your natural way of existence. Now you got these companies that's pumping fucking pollution into the damn into the water. You can't eat the fish because of all the mercury and stuff they dropping into it. So there's a lot of different things you cannot do that you was doing before 1492. All right, so check this out. I say much like governments have an obligation to take care of orphan children. Calling you a fucking orphan. Let's get my language. I was on curse. Calling you an orphan, okay? It's a given that Native Americans were in America anywhere from 12,000 to 40,000 years ago. They say before the British, French, the Spanish colonized the New World, condescending to say that the tribes need us to preserve their existence. A second wrinkle in the racist rule in court is that not one really understands what the court mean when it's created all these rules. Leading Indian law scholars today are still baffled by by much of what the Supreme Court ruled on decades and even hundreds of years ago. What we do know to be the law today is that Indian tribes have been legally singled out on the basis of race and given special treatment special treatment in the case of Native American often work to their detriment, say for a lot of complication legal reasons. The United States government can treat Native Americans differently than the racial groups, meaning a lot of the cases Native Americans do not have protection against racially motivated government actions that other groups would be able to sue over. So now look, you see that? So they violate you and basically remember now what do that sound like? That sounded like the Dred Scott case, meaning you have no standing in law. But that's what that 1924 case was basically to do. Now check this out. Now how about this, right? So these niggas is so greasy to the point to where they can come on your land and they know it's your land, but they can violate you and not honor nothing. Basically saying, "Oh, you can't beat me. Fuck it, you can't beat me, so I'm gonna do what I want to." And you can't get my court and sue because I'm not giving you the proper. I'm not giving you basically I'm not acknowledging you as anyone who can just come in here and sue me. So that's like the worst case of any bullying ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? You bully, and that's like, yo, that's like calling a nigga a bitch in front of his family and everything. That's even worse than that. You know what I'm saying? That's even worse than that. All right. So let's conclude this. All right. And one more time, let me read that again. It say for a lot of complicated reasons, legal reasons, the U.S. government can treat many Native Americans differently from any racial group. Meaning, now, why can they treat them different from any other racial group? Because other racial groups are United citizens, meaning that they agree to abide by this fucking government rules. That's it. That's it. That's the reason why they do it. That's the reason why they basically treat other people different than they treat you. Because these people say, "Oh, I'm here. I'm going to do everything my master tell me to do. I'm not going to deviate from any of his rules. I'm not going to cut any corner. I'm going to do whatever my master tells." do. And this is what these people do. This is what these immigrants do. You think these immigrants come here to be part of something that they not? You know what I'm saying? I mean, they came here to agree by everything. Understand what I'm saying? Now you have some case, a lot of this first generation immigrants, they be trying to buck against the system or whatever though. But fuck around with Trump. Trump going to make some different rules the way he gonna start deporting even people who born here. You know what I'm saying? And I don't see, you know what I'm saying, if they can mistreat, if they come here and practice the same thing that the Aborigines practice or whatever, I don't see why because that's basically, you didn't broke the contract. You agreed to come here. Your parents agreed for you to be an upstanding citizen, and you violate that, then you should be, even if you never been to that country, it should be bye-bye. But they could do that shit to you, though. See how that work? So let's keep it moving. All right. And say, why do we have treaties with citizens? All right. It's hard to explain exactly why the U.S. entered into Indian treaties today. Some historians believe when the U.S. into the treaty, Native Americans would be part of the U.S. They say we thought that we would take their land and give new land outside the boundaries of the U.S. So basically, they was going to take what they was going to keep for the U.S. and then send your ass west outside of the boundaries of the United States, and we would not have to deal with them again. See that? We would not have to deal with them again. So if you was on the East Coast of Virginia, which started the first 13 colonies up or whatever, then you basically was pretty much screwed. All right. So it say, however, driven by manifest destiny, the U.S. kept pushing westward on its border, eventually eating up all the land we set aside for Indian tribes. Today, this leaves us with a complicated issue at home. We enter into treaties with Indian tribes thinking that it was a way to simply get the Native American off the land that we wanted for white settlement. See, it say because the U.S. later decided it wanted the territory we gave the Native American. We have had to figure out some ways to live with nations inside of our larger nation. Today, Indian tribes are forming for some purpose and domestic for others. Say there are a complicated set of laws that order how the federal state government interact with the tribes and special federal agencies that deal with Indian tribes and tribal members on the ground. So you hear that shit, y'all? If you don't understand that shit self-explanatory. Basically, there is no rules to this shit. They ain't gonna fight. I mean, they ain't gonna violate. They ain't follow none of the rules. They ain't gonna follow none of the rules. You got broken treaty. They're telling you that basically under the Dred Scott case, because they know that even the 14th Amendment wasn't properly ratified. 28 of 21 of 20 of 30 something states voted on it. You understand? They ain't know it wasn't properly ratified. That's why they still do what they do. But because some of them have some part, then therefore that's the reason why. And then also they doing this like they trying to hide the fact that they don't want you to know that this is not really law or it isn't really properly ratified. All right. So remember that, y'all. Remember that, you know what I'm saying? If you want to get this article right here, it's called Broken Promises. And actually, look, let me show you something. Let me show you who basically put this shit together. This is the AAPF, the African American Policy Forum, y'all. Okay, now why so-called African Americans got some unbroken treaties? Because they know that they Indians. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not saying that's exactly the influence of this article. I'm saying because I know what the deal is. All right, I know exactly what the deal is. All right, so um, let's look at this quick. So let me see something. I might have to probably make, because kind of I got about an hour to go, and go baby up. Let me reload this real quick. I still ain't or go on the origins of the state name. So I'll go into some other things. Hold on for 1 second. There's somebody at the door. Give me 1 second, people. All right, I don't know what's up. Let me see. Oh, that's low enough. Let me see something. All right. I'm just reading. I just want to see something real quick. Dealing with this. You know what? I'm not even going to touch on this because this is not what I was looking for. So I got this shit on for like pulling up all the bookmark. This, and we're gonna deal with the pink quads later on. All right, so let me try to get through this as fast as possible so I can get to the other thing. All right, so this is the absent American Indian treaties, a guide to treaties never referenced at federal level or federal court levels. All right. All right. So abstract. The treaty signed by the U.S. and various Indian nations continue to be powerful litigation tool demonstrated in the 1999 Supreme Court case Minnesota versus Millie Lock bands of Chippewa Indians. Say over the years, many cases have been heard, but it's not noteworthy that of the over 370 Indian treaties enumerated by the Department of State, say more than 80 have never been cited in the opinion of a trial federal court level. This notes identify these absent American Indian treaties. Now remember what I just read. Now remember what I just read, because you know why? Because a lot of these treaties, I'm gonna tell you something too. As we read this, you're going to see that a lot of these treaties are assimilated into the United States. A lot of these people, because of what I showed you, because of the Racial Integrity Act and Walter Plecker, the people who was basically heirs to a lot of these tribes, they basically never recognized them because we was already assimilated at that point in time. So it's a study of treaties constructed between the Indian nations within the border of the U.S. And the U.S. federal government reveals that many were never discussed in the Supreme Court or any court at federal level. The list of absent treaties is surprisingly long. 84 of these 375 ratified documents have not appeared in the opinion of these courts. This is particularly remarkable because Indian law is primarily a body of federal laws, and federal courts are the arenas for hearings for that pertain to the parameter the parameters of of treaties. The numerous treaties cited in the 1999 Supreme Court case of Minnesota versus Millie Locke and the Chippewa Indians is an indication of the intensity of such Indians. U.S. government litigation intended no indeed this case brought for the first time before the Supreme Court with treaties, the Treaty of the Winnebago, and the Treaty of the Winnebago. It say the introduction of these instruments as evidence of Indian federal negotiation began over 200 years when in Commonwealth versus Cox, the Supreme Court cited for the first time treaties between the Indian nations and federal government. Three treaties were reported in that opinion. The Treaty of Six Nations. All right, so it's a treaties within the Wyandotte, etc., 1785, and the treaties with Wyandotte, 1785. Since that, the federal government had access these negotiated documents and adjudicated critical issues for the tribe and or the federal government. Two recent cases may illustrate questions arising from the interpretation of these instruments. All right, so it's a of Miami nations of Indiana unsuccessfully argued in the U.S. District Court that their treaty, the Treaty of Miami, 1854, supported the claim and recognized by the Department of Interior government and government's program for Indians are not available to unrecognized tribes. The U.S. State versus Webb, the defendant asserted that the alleged acts were not committed within Indian country, as that term is defined at 18 U.S. State Court 1151, and that federal government lacked jurisdiction in the petition. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit was asked to decide whether the Nance Prince Reservation established by the Treaty of 1863 was diminished and disestablished by virtue of allowment of land to tribal members and sale of suppressed land U.S. for settlement by white pursuits. It's a to the Government Allowment Act of 1887. The court concluded that reservation has not been diminished or disestablished and denied the notion on dismiss. They say only two of the enumerated suits brought before the federal court system within internal aspect of treaty negotiations. The documents that support such acts sustain Cohen's and content that the Indian treaties continue to constitute a major source of federal Indian law. It is therefore surprising, given the importance of the material, that more than 20% of these treaties have never been cited in these judicial settings. However, it may be significant that 74 of the 84 treaties noted here were signed before 1850. Cohen have stated that treaties concluded during the last 2 decades of the treaty making period increasingly encroach upon the autonomy of the tribes. It's the remaining 10 documents are a disimportant disproportionately small fraction of the more hundred instrument consummated between 1850 and the end of the treaties making in 1871. The imposition of the federal authority may have led to the initiation by tribes or federal that concern and cited almost all of these later treaties in the last century. Cases have frequently focused beyond the issue of sovereignty to those hunting, fishing, and gathering treaty. Hunting, fishing, and gathering treaty rights. So they don't even allow you to do that. All right. So the Department of State's ratified treaties, numbering systems, affords and index into these treaties. The department assigned numbers to Indian treaties in chronological order during the process of these documents and sequence, including several pre-revolutionaries. All right, so here we go. All right, so it's the Indian treaties listed by Department of State ratified treaty numbers that have not been referenced in the opinion of federal court. All right, so it's a signatory tribes, the Mohawk, the Anita, the Anagdaga, the Makan, the Anagdaga, Seneca, Mohawk, the Nadaga, the Takara, Mohawk, the Nagdaga, the Takara, the Mohawk, and this is basically these. This is 1721. This one 1726. The Nagdaga, the Mohawk is from 1744. Now look, you see how this is? It's three different tribes that basically is under this one so-called document right here. So I believe that these tribes are all one. They just had different names. All right. So Mohawk, the Anagdaga, and the Tuscarora. All right. So 1750 Mohawk, the Nog, the Tuscarora, another one. 1754, pretty much the same one. So all of these are the same. When you come out here, you see Shawnee of Delaware. So under 1776, you got Mohawk, Onondaga, the Takara, and the Shawnee of Delaware, and the Mingo. Mingo. That's a new one. I never heard of that one before. Well, that's 1879. You got the Oneida, you got the Seneca again, you got the Takara, Mohawk, Chickasaw. So you got the hold up, let me see something. So it's another one, Mohawk, it's a Oneida, something. So you got Chickasaw 1801, Seneca 1802, the Wyandotte, the Wyandotte 1803. You got the Kickapoo, the Ottawa. This is the Ottawa 1805. You got the Musson, see, the Shawnee, the Potawatomi. This is in Virginia, I believe. So you got the Chickasaw, the Pancasa. Yo, I know I'm butchering these up, and I already know how people gonna be correcting me, correct me all day. I mean, like I'm trying to really learn. It takes time to really pronounce these correctly. All right. So these are a lot of. This is the Mandawa Kantan, the Mandawa Kantan. This is the Sooks. So the Sooks Teton. All right, got some more right here. That's a lot right here. All right, so you got the Yachton, 1815. The Omaha, 1815. Iowa. Iowa was a damn tribe. See, but you already know. You already know if they not English words that they are fucking excuse my language. You already know if they not English words that they Aborigine words. Just like when you see Connecticut. Connecticut is actually a tribe, or that's a tribal territory. They get spelt it in the English form. That's why a lot of these words they spell it in the English form. We don't even know. Even the surnames, even a lot of your surnames or your tribal names or your clans names or whatever, they are basically spelt now in English form. All right, so look, check this out. So I don't know why Paco, the Wapacoat, the Wazacoat, the Winnebago, the Ata. We got the Pawnee Grand, the Pawnee Teapot, the Pawnee Republic, the Pawnee Loops, the Wadakan. So this is the Peoria Caucasia. Caucasica, I don't know how to pronounce that. You got the Cahokia. See, look, the Cahokia. The Michigan. Look at this. The Michigami. The Michigama. Now look, Michigan, Michigama. So we know that's a Michigan is an Aborigine name. The Cahokia. Okay. The Tamaroa, the Kickapoo, the Vermilion, the Kickapoo. We got the Wee, got the Kickapoo again. You got the Creek, you got Sax, there's Fox, Creek, Ponca. You got some of these, the Haka Papa, the Honk Papa. Um, some of these I can't even pronounce. The Arakara, the Mintara, the Nadan, the Ottawa. Now remember, understand this too, right? Oh yeah. Understand this too, right? All right, so look, you see where, let me see something. Now you see right here. This is, let me see something. All right. I believe this is the Mississippi River right here. This is the Mississippi River right here. Okay. Now you see, basically, Missouri, Michigan up here. All right. So remember 13 colonies right here. 13 colonies right here. So basically, remember they was dealing with these 13 colonies because understand this shit too, right? If they didn't get into Tennessee until after the 1700s, then they was in a lot of these people they was inhabiting by that time, that these people they just made them that's why you find a lot of people who saying that they wasn't slaves, because a lot of people they didn't find a lot of these Negroes that was basically up in a lot of these states until after the expedition of Lewis and Clark. That's why I'm starting to think that a lot of people were basically saying that they weren't slaves. Now, let me just make sure y'all was hearing all this shit, man. All right, y'all still in the house, no doubt. Peace to everybody, man. So all right, so look, so now it's starting to make sense, right? Because okay, what you won't see is this, right? Most of the when I look up most of the Indian slaves, most of the Indian slaves are right here in the southeast, all right, southeast, northeast area. Okay, now you hardly really see people slavery in Indiana or Illinois or Kentucky or even Tennessee. But you do see some in Louisiana because of the way that the French came there, right? But understand this, right? Understand this, right? Now I'm starting to really get a better understanding of this, right? The expedition of Lewis Clark wasn't until, let me see something. And this will pretty much help some of our understanding out too. Let me see something real quick. Let me just get this. Or Lewis and Clark. My bad. I always say Lewis and Clark. Thinking about that fucking Superman. Shit. Let me see. All right, boom. Check this out, y'all. All right, so the expedition of Lewis and Clark wasn't until 1804. And it's saying that the journey began near Missouri, okay? So Missouri is right here. All right, but this is after they found Tennessee. Like I said, we have to really go back and see what year did they find Tennessee. This is the reason why a lot of people saying that all their family will say. But I'm like this: if you was pretty much on this part right here where they came in the 13 colonies, you was enslaved here. But outside of this, because remember Georgia right here now, a lot of these states wasn't even called these names until after like the mid 1700s. All right, so all of this was all pretty much the same territory: Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Missouri. All of this pretty much was under the same territory, right? Excuse me. Because it's the reason why they said Alabama used to be part of Florida or part of Virginia. All this used to be basically Virginia right here. All right, in some parts of Florida, or what we call you know what I'm saying, right here, right? So look, so I'm thinking that most of these tribes outside of these, they basically just found. So that's the reason why they wasn't. Remember, they was warring all up and down the southeast, northeast, and until they started further these expeditions and sending missionaries out or whatever to see was some of these tribes hostile or not. They didn't really send people out there like that. So by that time, the U.S. Army was probably formed and they was opening up forts and everything in Arkansas, Missouri, and all these other places. That's why a lot of these places where they do have mounds at out here, like they didn't find them until later on. You know, there's mounds in North Carolina and South Carolina, Georgia, and all. There's mounds in Virginia. But for the most part, most of the other mounds, like the Tennessee, Kentucky, and we always talk about the pyramid in Kentucky, they didn't find because they did not make expeditions out. They had to secure the southeast, northeast territory first, which was hella far because they was warring with most of the tribes here. Okay, so that's the reason why you're seeing names like Missouri. So we know that Missouri was a damn. We know that Missouri was a what's name. Now I say Delaware, right? They saying that I don't know. When I looked up this, it didn't give me the indicate. It said that the word Delaware. I'm gonna show you where the state Delaware came from. But here you see Appalachia, Appalachicola, Apalachicola. I guess that's how you pronounce it, y'all. You gotta forgive me. All right. So these are taking you past start seeing these right here. Let me see something real quick. And these are some of the sources. All right, I want to go quick. All right, so we got these. We didn't talk about some of these. Most of these, you see Blackfeet, Silks, Blackfeet. All right, so let me see something. So all right, so it say war treaties and three later instruments found in American state papers, Indian Affair, Doloria, and D. Millie. It say have recently use the identification system to impart to disclose the rich array of frequently overlooked material of diplomat endeavors of the Indian nations. In addition to numbering systems have been used to assemble several legal and cultural resources associated with each of the 375 Indian treaties in the Department of State collection, Supreme Court Premium will bring together citations of Supreme Court opinions that refer to any of the 375 treaty Indian treaty. Commentary is a much shorter endeavor and specifically identify those treaties that have not been cited at the federal judicial level. Okay. Um all right, so table assembly of Department of States, Assembly, sign, ratify treaty numbers, each treaty that have not been cited in opinion cases at federal level, name, such and such. So that's pretty much the end of that. But let me tell y'all something. There's fucking a bunch of other treaties that I will go over. Okay. I'm kind of pressed for time. I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of understanding for those of y'all who don't know, because I know it's some brothers and sisters who do a lot of research, and some of us, man, we don't have time to do a lot of research like that. So not nobody who don't have time, who to do no research like that. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Shout out all the people who subscribing, all the people who following this video. Like I said, man, trying to really get this documentary out. Thus far, I got some of my own money. As far as I got like almost $1,200, a little over 1,200 rather, that I got from people who donated. And I ain't even used none of the donation money for no other purposes. I just pretty much just kept it. And I got a business account. I also got a 501c3. I know a lot of people don't deal with 501c3s, but until I find a proper way to do an indigenous business or indigenous corporate, I mean um indigenous basically, it's like I said, I got a nonprofit organization. So I have an account for that. It's called American Aborigine Outreach. And basically what I'm gonna be doing is dealing with people who got drug issues as well as dealing with abused women. And basically I'm trying to just do it mainly for just people that's has substance abuse problems, as well as you know teenagers, troubled teenagers, and stuff like that. So hopefully that'll be getting off the ground soon or whatever. But I have account for it, so I kind of put most of my money in there. But I also got another um business called American Aborigine too. No, it's called Aborigine Americans. And I'm like I said, I'm trying to do some local farms and local produce, well as like some health food stores and everything. It's gonna be called American Aborigine. And as well as, like I said, if I ever because I'm also a chef and I'm a nutritionist too. So if I ever decide to get, like, man, maybe a food truck or some type of like little small food establishment, it's gonna be called American Aborigine. It's gonna be under the same umbrella. All right. And like I said, until I find a better way to do business, I will keep it as the 501c3, and then I will transfer it over later. But like I said, most of the people who donate, I put most of the money in there. So thanks most of the subscribers who have donated thus far or whatever though. But like I said, donations is always needed when you're doing this type of work, far as traveling expenses and things of that nature. So feel free if you can donate. I know a lot of people probably do still celebrate the holidays. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. A lot of us, we're still colonizing. I'm not taking nothing away from anybody. You have children, and just at least let your children know that Santa Claus is fake. And even if you want to make them feel good to keep up with their friends or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because as a kid, you don't really want to be left out. But like I explained to my daughter, like, we don't do Christmas. I'm just buying you something so you can feel you can feel normal. But when you grow up, you let your kids, I don't buy no trees. um I don't know. Sometime I might put some lights. I kind of like the lights and shit, but I haven't put no lights up in years, man. But I damn sure ain't got no damn Christmas tree and none of that. Um, and I know my daughter, she used to it, so she don't even really care about the Christmas tree. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just a lot though. But like I said, man, you donate. Please send a donation. The link in the description. Also, for Aboriginal apparel, I will be opening up my own website probably by February, which is gonna have probably like snapbacks and dad hats and all that, as well as varsity jackets and everything, man. So if you like to support your brother, just for now, go to the T-shirt Spring account and just support. All right. Like I said, the link in the description. If you like to send donations, anything is accepted. Any as long as it's over $5, because PayPal, they have a, basically, they have their own thing where they take out a certain percentage of it. So, like I said, man, feel free to donate. Donations are accepted. They're not a requirement. The requirement is just to listen to the video and try to research from there. But for those of you who are, like I said, financially a little bit more, have more financial freedom, some other people, please donate. It would definitely be good to get, so we can get this documentary out there. All right, so now we're gonna go real quick. I'm gonna run through this quick. See if I can run through this shit in 30 minutes. All right, so got this one from just to give us a little brief idea of when they started changing these names around for these states. So it say all them states, the 28 states. All right. So it say Alabama. It say Indian for tribal town, later for Alabama or Alabamians. It say Creek Confederacy. Uh, so actually my boy, I hit him back. All right, so it's Alaska, Russia, Alaskan. All right, and land is not an island. Okay, all right, so peninsula. So basically, it's trying to say, all right, Alaskan for peninsula, Great Land. All right, so Arizona. All right, it's a version of the Pimi Indians, Little Spring Place, Aztec, Azuma, meaning silver bearing. Arkansas, French variant of Quapaw, the Sosquan people meaning downstream people, Connecticut, the Mohegan, and other Algonquin word meaning long river place. All right, now look, let me see something real quick. I don't know why I'm on the load. All right, so look, set it load up a little bit. For this to load up. Well, if you can see right here, so all right, so Connecticut. But look, all right, so we seen Arkansas, California. It's an adventure book, la something, 1500s. Colorado, Spanish for ready or red or lit color. Connecticut, Algonquin. It's Connecticut. This is Quinnipiac. It's a meaning beside long tidal river, Delaware. All right, it's a from Delaware River, a bay named in turn for St. Thomas. Let me see something. For Sir Thomas, sorry. For Sir Thomas, a Baron de la War. Baron de la War. Okay, that's where they saying that the word Delaware came from. But I said I'm gonna do some further research on this. This is pretty much just some real quick assessment of this. Um, Damn, shit take forever to load up. And, all right, hold up. I'm gonna stay with this one because this one got most of the better. All right, so Georgia, no, Florida. The Spanish for Pascua, 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 meaning feast of flower. Georgia, in honor of George the Second of England. Hawaii, we already took that. Hawaii, the traditional place of the Now I say traditional place of the Polynesians. You know, the Polynesians is basically South Pacific Island, Idaho. Say the invention name of who is unknown. Said claimed by the Shoshone word, but later said it was made up. Illinois is a French version of Algonquin, referring to either to men in general or a particular group known as the Illinois Indiana, meaning land of Indians, usual traditional Latin. Iowa, it's a from the Iowa River, which was named after the Lawa or the Ba Oj. I can't pronounce that shit. It got hyphens and everything. Kansas, it's a from a local word used by the Dakota Omaha, other meaning people of the South Wind. From the word meaning land of tomorrow. Louisiana in honor of Louis of France. I don't know what the fuck with this page. This page is bugging. All right, so Maine, it's a first distinguished of mainland of offshore islands. It's a have been considered for a compliment to Henrietta Maria, Queen of Charles of England. She was said to have owned the province of Maine in France. I gotta give you something Maine and France. All right, so Maryland, in honor of Henrietta Maria, Queen of Charles of England. So both of these had some influence of Henrietta Maria. All right, so Massachusetts. They say from the Massachusetts people. They say who in Danam. Danam means people of the Great Hills. Michigan from the Ajawa word meaning Michigama. Now we get seeing that tribe in the when we was looking at them treaties. It's a meaning great or Great Lakes. Minnesota, it's a from Dakota, it's a word meaning sky, tainted water. Michigan, I'm sorry, Mississippi, it's a from the French render an Ashanabi, I guess how you pronounce it, name for river, or Mississippi meaning great river. Missouri, named after local Missouri people. Missouri means towns or large canoes. Montana, it's a from Spanish Pico Montana, meaning mountains. Nebraska, from the Ata word meaning flat water. Nevada, snowy or snow caped. It's in reference to the peak of Sierra Nevada. New Hampshire, the English county of Hampshire. New Jersey, it's a from the Channel Isles of Jersey. Mexico, from Mexico itself, named the Mexican people, and something. New York in honor of the Duke of York. North Carolina in honor of Charles of England. North Dakota from the Dakota people. Ohio from the Seneca word meaning great river. Oklahoma from the Chickasaw word meaning red people, reportedly named by the Choctaw. Fuck this bitch up here, man. Fucking Killery. Named by the Chickasaw leader following the Trail of Tears, Oregon Unknown, something by Jonathan Carver, 1778. And it was from the writings of Madge Robert Rogers, two name motherfucker, and an English Army officer, Pennsylvania, in honor of Admiral Sir William Penn. We already know this bastard. Rhode Island, from Greek islands arose. South Carolina, in honor of Charles England. South Dakota, from the Dakota people. All right, Tennessee, the origin of the name is unknown, though it's possibly from the Cherokee render or the Yahtzee word. Say Texas, from a Caddo word meaning owls, used by the Spanish to describe the Caddo and the region they live. Utah, from the Ute, meaning people of mountains. Vermont, from Vermont, meaning great mountain. Virginia, in honor of Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen of England. Washington, in honor of George Washington. But we know that this might be Washita. Okay, we know that why there's no English word named Washington. We know that the word Washita was already here. Virginia, well, West Virginia, Virgin Queen again. Wisconsin, French corruption, possibly a Miami word. It say it lies red. It say in reference to the bed of the Wisconsin River. And Wyoming, it say competing interpretations place it as from a Delaware word, a Mansi word, or an Algonquin word. The most popular holds it's from a Delaware word for mountains or valleys, alternating the same as the Wyoming Valley in Pennsylvania. Interesting. All right, I just thought that'd be kind of interesting for some of y'all. Let me see something real quick, because some of these don't have the same one. So, um, I don't think I seen Kansas. Say South Wind people. Went over that. Michigan, Minnesota. Did I go over Minnesota? Minnesota River. We went over Mississippi, Missouri. Say River Bay Canoes. Nebraska. We ain't go over. They say from Omaha. Did we go over Nebraska? Whatever. It say Platte River. And that's about it. All right, and that's pretty much about it. All right, so like I said, man, do your research, further your research, continue to do the research, man. We'll continue on making videos, continue on trying to edify the people, and keep trying to just just keep get a lot of this information out there to us, man. Um, like I said, I got another video I'm gonna do probably later on, all of the so-called territories or the tribal territories. I'm really trying to find some more information on the southeast, mostly northeast tribes, and that's from Virginia all the way to the Mississippi. So like I said, man, I go pick my young one up. Um, but hopefully y'all enjoy the video. Sorry about that. Hopefully y'all enjoy the video. Hopefully, like I said, man, everybody y'all have a good day or whatever. I will be getting back to y'all. I will be doing something later on, like I said, when I come back from the gym, man. So, love and light to everybody that come through. Please hit the like button so my videos can be kind of trending. Even though a lot of people kind of tell me that they don't see the videos until probably a week later because they don't pop up on their feed or whatever. But nonetheless, so that's how YouTube do. You know what I'm saying? Until we get a better platform, Brother Chief Holiday trying to put out there or whatever, we're gonna have to deal with YouTube and YouTube politics and their bullshit. So with that being said, man, let me get up out of here, man. Shout out to everybody. Like I said, I'm gonna be home for a minute. I do got some obligations to go down here and interview a few people that I got set up over the holidays. I actually went to the lecture the other day in New York on the 16th. I met the brother Aline Bay. I was talking to him, building with him. He said he'd be more than happy to be inside the documentary. I'm gonna probably reach out to him within a couple of days and try to go down there and set up. I'm gonna try to do all North Carolina people in North Carolina, and I'm trying to go see all in the one shot deal, so I ain't gotta go run around. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, man, shout out to all the people in the chat room. Shout out to all the subscribers and anybody else that come through. And like I said, man, if y'all got any research or anything, email me, send me research, or you know what I'm saying. If you have any, I know a lot of people send me a lot of stuff, man. I got 6 email addresses, and it's hard, man. It's only 24 hours in a day, man, and it's really hard to really reach out to everybody all the time or whatever. I have been in contact with the brother from you and brother Uriah, whatever, the one UNB UB in news or whatever, and hopefully we'll be getting something out pretty soon. As well as I actually been in contact with Lex Will, man. I know a lot of people got problems with Lex Will or whatever. But I always put that out there that I did. Lex Will actually kind of, a lot of some information, man. And I'm gonna tell you, a lot of them pictures from that book, America's Earliest Depiction, is pictures that I seen Lex Will put out there first, man. So, like hopefully, man, the brothers in the community, everybody will somehow one day get past the little differences, man, and we can probably come together, man. See that brother Dark, man. I guess I ain't got no problem with him. I never did have a problem with him. I just had a problem with, that situation with my brother Chief Holiday. And that's how I ended up getting into it. But, like I said, Chief got into it because of me. So it is what it is, man. But for the most part, man, like I said, the brother, he reached out, you know what I'm saying? I was in his feed the other day, and shout out to that brother, man. Shout out to all the people, man. You know what I'm saying? I see Phoenix Moon doing her thing. And everybody else, man. So, like I said, let me get up out of here, man. But shout out to everybody, man. All Aborigines, everybody who come through with their own bill and their own information. Shout out to all you guys, all you women. Um, and that's it, man. So, with that being said, man, I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.